What an exciting day for me today. I had this company, Fein Tools, reach out to me and ask if I wanted to give some of their tools a go. And for anybody that knows me out there knows that I love my tools. And I was actually surprised because at first I thought they were going to be sending me, one or two things. I knew they wanted to send me their grinders, but they sent me a plethora of things. And I'm so excited to try them all out with you guys. So just a quick run through of the things that I've got from them. The angle grinder, the nibbler, the die grinder, and the shear. And of course, forgot to bring it over here because I've been using it so much, is the magnetic vise. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with this magnetic vise because I probably have been using this the most. It sounds silly when you think about it. You're like, well, why wouldn't I just have a regular vise that I can move around? But for one, a fixed vise is great, but you can't move it anywhere. And you can. I have one that's on a pedestal that I have to move around and wheel around everywhere, and it is heavy and a nuisance. But when I'm working on my metal table and I'm doing little tiny jobs that I need to cut things here and there, this thing has been fantastic. So right now, it is full of drill press shavings. Because if you've ever used a drill press and you've used a drill press vise, you're constantly having to clamp and clamp and clamp, moving around all the bracing that's underneath the pedestal, and it can become a nuisance. So having this little vise where all you do is you pull onto that and it locks itself into place. And you can wheel it in, wheel it out. It has really good lines on the inside. So if you are, for example, putting in a piece of square tubing or rectangular tubing or any kind of tubing that's square, flat bar, whatever, you have that little edge so that if you're drilling through on top of this vise, you're not going to drill into your vise. And if you look at my vise, this is my drill press vise. It is covered in holes because that doesn't have that same edge on the top in order to lock it into place so you're not drilling into your drill press without having to constantly be moving all of your pieces. So the difference between these two and my drill press is pretty mega. I've also taken this vise and I've used it on the back of my truck when I'm doing test fits, when I'm doing mobile work. I just flip my tailgate down and I can just clamp this in. And again, you guys, it's not going anywhere. It's super sturdy, one handle, and you move it everywhere you need it to go. They're a little bit pricey, but I find that I've been using it daily. I've been using it for everything that I'm doing, and I'm really, really happy with this. I would invest into this. The couple little things that I've noticed is that you have to really, really crank on it in order for the jaws to hold everything really, really tight. With my other vise, I can kind of half-ass crank on it, and it will tighten, but it will stay tight. And if I just kind of give this a quick one, then it usually will pop out if I'm doing anything pretty rigorous with it. But all in all, I really, really love this. The only one downside too about the magnetic version of a part of it is that all the shavings and stuff do get stuck inside the center here. But I take a vacuum, clean it out real quick, real simple. 10 out of 10, love that magnetic vise. The next tool, some of these I've used already because I was in my shop and, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to do these videos and I get impatient and I just want to use these things. So their angle grinder, in comparison to Milwaukee, they are a little bit bigger. They are heavier. The design is a little bit different. So the weight distribution when you're holding it is different. So just because this one is a little bit heavier, it doesn't seem heavier just because of the way that they designed it and the weight distribution of it. So a couple cool things. Again, they gave me 2 batteries and a battery charger. The batteries charge so quickly, which I really love. And I have these 18 volt, 8 amp batteries. And the nice thing about Fein is that they do a battery share. So all of Bosch batteries fit into all of the Fein tools and vice versa. The two companies just realized that, I think it was Fein that had problems with their batteries. So they went to Bosch and said, hey, let's team up. And they teamed up and came up with a better battery. And I will say, these batteries last a very long time. I've been really, really happy with how long these batteries last in comparison to Milwaukee. They do last longer. And so this angle grinder too, you know, it's brushless, just like a lot of the Milwaukee ones. An odd thing about it is it has this slow start function. So when I start it, it takes a minute to speed up. And so I didn't really understand it, but then I kind of had looked into it a little bit more, and it's just, it helps with power and it just helps with control and just safety and all that kind of stuff. And all in all, if I've compared my two grinders, my Milwaukee and my Fein grinder, I do prefer my Fein grinder. Putting a zip cut on here, I find that the Milwaukee ones stall out when you're using a zip cut, and it does not do that at all with this grinder. And, you know, it could have something to do with the style of the Milwaukee grinders I have, the size batteries, how new my batteries are. There's lots of different things that could contribute to why, but I find even from the get-go, I have 3 different Milwaukee grinders, and this one outpowers it by far. So I'm really happy with this grinder all in all. It has the lock on it, which some of the, you know, you have to get the versions that do. There's ones that just are a paddle that you have to hold on to. I like locking it because I can hold it with one hand. Like to be able to free up my thumb and lock it in so it's on like that. Lots of power. And you guys, it comes with a guard. If you don't know how to use a grinder, or you're not comfortable with it, if you're new to the trade, or if you're just not comfortable at all, then leave your guard on. I take mine off because I'm comfortable. I know how to use my grinder. I know what my grinder is capable of. I always inspect my discs. You know, there's lots of things that contribute to why somebody would take off their guard. If you've been in the trade a really long time, I know you know this. So keep the guard on. If you're concerned, don't worry about how I'm doing it. Worry about how you want to do it. So that's that one. And then the other nice thing is this does have a variable speed from 1 to 6. So I'm sure with some, you know, body work with when you're buffing things, when you're cleaning up and grinding, that maybe I would utilize that, but I find that I haven't had to use that function just yet. The one negative thing, the big negative thing about this one is that I have little hands, and so to take these batteries out, it's a thumb push. You have to push with your thumb here, and you have to pull on that little bottom part there. So when I pull this out, it actually is really difficult for me to take this on and off compared to your Milwaukee batteries, which have the double side and they come out off and on really easy. I can do it with one hand, and that's no problem. So I do prefer the battery style, because when I'm trying to move quickly and I have to put all my energy, my little tiny thumbs to try to get that on and off, it can be a little bit tricky. With these two, which is a little bit different than the Milwaukee ones, is that the motor that's inside here is fully enclosed. So the Milwaukee ones aren't, and so they can collect with dust. We're not the ones that I have anyway. So that is the angle grinder. I will keep this. I mean, now I have 5 grinders, corded, this one, and then 3 Milwaukee cordless ones. I really use them all, but I do find that if I want anything with a little bit more power with my sanding discs or zip cuts, that this will be my go-to. So I'm really happy with this. Next in line will be this lovely little die grinder. And when I say little, I don't actually mean little at all, because there's nothing little about this die grinder. Compared to my Milwaukee one, it is substantially bigger. And when I got this one, I thought this one was big. But when you're holding it properly, I find that these die grinders are really nice compared to the ones that you need compressed air, because they don't take off on me like ones with compressed air. Like when you're going and those things are spinning and you get this thing in a hole and it starts taking off. If you've been doing this a long time, you know what that's like. I don't find that these do that. So, I mean, for where I use this, it's usually in a little more delicate spot, small spots that I want to kind of be a little more gentle with it. And, you know, I've used both of these now. I took the blade out of this one, But this one again is brushless and it is variable speed, which I really do like. And same thing as most die grinders are pretty universal wrenches. So you have the wrenches that fit onto, oopsie daisy. This one are the same wrenches that are going to fit onto this one to put on your, oh, they're backwards, to put on your, to put your bits inside there. So really good die grinder. I mean, I can't say that it has too many different features than the Milwaukee one, other than its giantness. But they did do a really good job on making sure that when you're, the ergonomics of it and the way that you're holding it, the weight distribution, all seems to work really, really well. So all in all, I'm happy with this one. I'm happy with this one. I'll use both. I'll probably put one flapper on this one and then I have another bit on this one. So that is pretty easy peasy for those two. Okay, next in line. What do we want to talk about here? Let's talk about the Nibbler. So I've never owned a Nibbler before. I've seen them online, lots and lots. I usually work with a little bit heavier duty stuff. So for me, I never really thought that I would need one. But now as I'm going and I'm starting to do some stuff with Engage stuff, doing more body work on vehicles in my own shop, it's come in really handy. And so this guy, if you can see very well on there, all it does is just take a little nibble right out of the material. So I'm going to show you guys what it's like. Steal this battery from here. Ooh, if I can. There we go. I only got 2 batteries and one's not charged because I was using it on my grinder yesterday. So I'm going to try to be all safe and put on my safety glasses and tuck in my shirt and do all those things. No, I'm not. But I will clamp this down and I will wear safety glasses. Come on, clamp. There we go. Okay, so I have used this a little bit. I'll tuck my shirt in though, because that does get in the way. I'm only wearing this because it's slightly cold today. So this is heavy, there's no doubt. Variable speed, everything has variable speed with Fein. I think that's a pretty cool feature. And it's like a little sewing machine. Turn it on, turn it off. And also, you guys, I got these safety glasses from Safe Style Safety Wear. People have commented many a time on how they don't think that they're proper safety glasses. But these are safer than any safety glasses that I've gotten at any other store. You know, those long, clear ones. How many times I've had things pop up from underneath where these actually fit my face, they fit my eyes, they have side protection, and they look pretty cool when I wear them. So I think. Okay, let's give this a go. Well, that's set at 6, and that is super awesome. It is a perfectly clean line, like little to no burr on there. It has a little bit of a little bit of an edge that you could just really quickly clean up with a flapper disc. And then I had actually done that middle one earlier. So that is the amount of material that it takes out of the center when you're cutting. So, you know, having to take into account that it's going to be about 3/16 of an inch material that it cuts. It's not just a straight, hiccup. It's not just a straight cut. But I've found that I can use this. This is so slim here that even to fit inside a piece of tubing, that's this. I'm not going to do this because actually, yes, I'm going to do it because I have this bad boy. I actually haven't tried this on a piece of tubing yet. So let's give it a see. This might be a little bit thick. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying about the vise. So this is 1/8. Actually, is that 1/8? Oh no, that's a 100 wall. And this is just thin gauge. This is like 14 gauge, I think. Let's see if I can give this a go again. Okay, so we know it cuts square, it cuts flat material really, really well. Really, really clean. Really fast, but it doesn't do the same on this tubing. So 100 wall thickness is probably my too much for this. So good to know. Okay. Now let's look at the last one. Okay, well, anyways, you guys, 14 gauge. This is about the thickest it's gonna wanna nibble. You get about a 3/16 nibble out of it. I'm gonna use this lots when I'm doing some of my, my plasma cutting, when I'm doing my designs and stuff, rather than cutting the edges or the circles out with my plasma cutter, which is usually fine, but this is just so much cleaner to cut out my shapes that I need. So happy me. And I'm gonna find that come in so handy for different jobs. I'm really excited for that one. And last but not least, the little shear. So never had one of these either, not an electric one. I always just use the hand shear with the big, huge handles. But for doing body work, for doing anything like that, I think this is going to be the cat's meow, because I'm really starting to do a lot more body work on my own trucks, and just trying to do some more work for customers and stuff. I've done it in other shops, but I've never offered it in my business. So now I'm trying to offer that to people, cheaper, little bit by bit. And it's fun, so can't complain about that. So let's give this a go on the same material that I used the Nibbler. See how this works. Again, all switches are pretty much the same, on, off, and the variable speed. Same as the rest. So let's kick it up a notch, turn it up some, get shear in. Well, that's cool. So just doing some shapes and angles. I mean, I think that, again, I do think that this is pretty thick material for what these jobs are, or what these tools are made for. To get some thinner gauge stuff, I wouldn't be using this for body work. I use this more for decorative signs. It's not too often that I will be using this thick material. But, I mean, this thing is pretty cool. I don't even have any thinner materials. I could start cutting up my rulers, but I've done that too many times. I should probably stop. I need to keep some of them. So I'm going to try just a straight cut on this and see how that goes. Okay, so I did a cut and then I backed out because I wanted you guys to see how the line that it takes, different from the Nibbler, this doesn't take out any material. It just shears it. So you're just cutting a line in it. You're not taking anything out, which is nice. You're going to get a little bit of a twist and a bend when you're doing stuff like this in the thicker material. I mean, even possibly in the thinner material, but having this backing plate on here really helps for when you're cutting, to prevent it from really, really warping. So that is exciting, you guys. Everything came with handles. I already got a handle on the situation, so I don't use them. They're overrated. So there it is, you guys. Battery charger, battery, shear, Nibbler, angle grinder, die grinder, magnetic vise. All in all, this is a really awesome tool haul. These are great tools. They are pricier than your Milwaukee stuff, but I do believe that they will last a lot longer. The power in them is quite substantial compared to some of the Milwaukee stuff. I've only ever used Milwaukee, so I can't even compare it to DeWalt, Bosch, or Makita. I mean, my corded grinders are usually Makita, but that's because they're a really good price. You just let them burn out as they need to burn out. You always find them on sale, so can't complain there. But I'm really happy with this, really happy with these purchases. I can't wait to take these. I'm off to do my truck build in 2 weeks. So when I go over to Rust Bros to do that there, I'm going to be taking all of these with me so we can use them over there. I mean, especially the Nibbler and the Shear. I think they'll come in really handy for all the body work we're going to be doing, because there is going to be a lot. But there it is, guys. Fein Tools. Check them out. I'm not paid for this, but I get these cool tools. So I get to say exactly what I want and exactly how I feel about all the tools that I use in here. Pretty passionate about it, as most of you know, but love sharing it with everybody. If you have questions, if anything you guys want to know about the stuff that I've got here, be sure to shoot it in the comments and I'll try my best to respond. You know, I will respond to all the nice things that people put out there. I have no problem with that. But thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking these videos. I'm absolutely loving it. I can't wait to share more. I have boxes of things that I have to do next. So, you know, I got some abrasives. That's going to be my next video. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks again, everybody, for subscribing.